What's up everyone? In this video I'm going to show you how to download and install Ubuntu on a single purpose laptop. That purpose being to only use it with your hardware wallet. Using a laptop for the only purpose of connecting to your hardware wallet is going to greatly increase your security by reducing the risk of any malware or viruses being on that laptop. So to start, you're going to need a laptop as well as a USB thumb drive where we're going to create that bootable Ubuntu USB. So head on over to the PC that you use every single day and let's launch an internet browser and head to ubuntu.com/tutorials. Accept all and visit site. Okay, so in the search bar, we're just going to search desktop. And we're looking for install Ubuntu desktop. So let's go ahead and click on this tutorial. Okay, now we're on the overview page for the install Ubuntu on your desktop tutorial. So let's skip ahead to requirements. So down below, you're going to see we also have several tutorials that explain how to create an Ubuntu DVD or USB flash drive. So let's open that up in a new tab. And we're going to scroll down until we find create a bootable USB stick on macOS. Let's go ahead and click that. Okay, we're going to skip the overview again and go to requirements. You will need a 2 GB or larger USB stick / flash drive, an Apple computer or laptop running Mac OS, and an Ubuntu ISO file. See Get Ubuntu for download links. So let's go ahead and download that ISO file. Right-click Open in New tab. Ubuntu downloads, Ubuntu desktop. Go ahead and click on that. And Ubuntu 20.04.2.0 LTS. Let's go ahead and download that. Okay, so that's going to take a few minutes, and when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, so the ISO file has successfully downloaded, so let's go back to our tutorial. X out of that tab, and prepare the USB stick. To ensure maximum compatibility with Apple hardware, we're going to first blank and reformat the USB stick using Apple's disk utility. But this step can be skipped if you intend to use the USB stick with only generic PC hardware. So we are going to be using this with a Mac. So let's go ahead and do that disk utility step. Launch disk utility from the Applications Utilities or Spotlight search. Okay, we're going to go down to the Finder. Go to Applications, Utilities, and disk utility. Okay. Insert your USB stick and observe the new device added to disk utility. Okay. Pop that in. Go back to disk utility. And there it is, no name. Go back to the steps. Select the USB stick device. You may need to enable the option View Show All Devices, and select Erase from the toolbar or right-click menu. Set the format to ms-dos (FAT) and the scheme to Guide Partition Map. Check you've chosen the correct device and click Erase. Okay. We have no name selected. Going to go up to Erase. Format ms-dos FAT32, so let's change that to ms-dos FAT and click Erase. And click the Done button. Go back to the steps. And go to the next step. Install and run Etcher. To write the ISO file to the USB stick, we're going to use a free and open source application called Etcher. After downloading this and clicking to mount the package, Etcher can either be run in place or dragged into your applications folder. By default, recent versions of macOS block the running of applications from unidentified developers. To sidestep this issue, enable App Store and identified developers in the Security and Privacy pane of System Preferences. If you are still warned against running the application, click Open Anyway in the same pane. Okay, so let's go to Settings, Security and Privacy. And the App Store and Identified Developers is already checked, but if it wasn't, we could always unlock, punch in our password, and then we could change it. Okay, let's X out. Okay, let's go ahead and download Etcher. Go ahead and right-click Etcher, open a new tab. Head on over to their site and click the download for macOS. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let that download, and when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, so Etcher has successfully downloaded, so let's go back to the steps, X out of that tab. Let's go ahead and run Etcher, so I'm going to go down to Finder, Downloads, and double-click Etcher. And double-click Etcher again. Yes, open it. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the steps. Etcher configuration. Etcher will configure and write your USB device in 3 stages, each of which needs to be selected in turn. Select Image will open a file requester from which should navigate to and select the ISO file downloaded previously. By default, the ISO file will be in your Downloads folder. Okay, let's go back to Etcher. Flash from File. Downloads. And Ubuntu ISO file, and click Open. Okay, go back to the steps. Select Drive, replaced by the name of your USB device if one is already attached. Lets you select your target device. You'll be warned if the storage space is too small for your selected ISO. Okay, let's go back. Select Target. Okay, I'm going to select my flash drive and click Select. Go back to the steps. Flash will activate when both the image and the drive have been selected. As with Disk Utility, Etcher needs low-level access to your storage hardware and will ask for your password after selection. Okay, go back to Etcher and click Flash. Pop in my password. Okay, so that says it's going to take about 10 minutes. So when it's done, I'll be right back. Okay, the write to device has completed. Flash complete. The disk you inserted was not readable by this computer, so we're just going to go ahead and eject that. Take that out. Go back to my steps. Write to device. When everything has finished, Etcher will declare the process a success. Congratulations, you now have Ubuntu on a USB stick, bootable and ready to go. All right, awesome. So let's go to boot to your Mac. Step 7, boot your Mac. If you want to use your USB stick with an Apple Mac, you'll need to restart or power on the Mac with the USB stick inserted while the Option/Alt key is pressed. This will launch Apple's Startup Manager, which shows bootable devices connected to the machine. Your USB stick should appear as gold/yellow and labeled EFI boot. Selecting this will lead you to the standard Ubuntu boot menu. Okay. So you can get a little picture of what that's going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and power down my Mac, and I'll show you how to boot from the flash drive. Okay, so I've closed out all of my windows. I'm going to shut down the Mac, click the Apple icon, and click Shut Down, and shut down again. So now I'm going to insert my bootable USB drive, turn on the Mac, and hold down Alt Option. And that's going to bring up the boot option. Select the EFI boot, either one will work, and hit the arrow up. And that's going to run Ubuntu. And it's going to take us to the Install Ubuntu page. And we're not going to install yet, we're just going to try Ubuntu. Okay, and once the screen pops up, you're going to go to the bottom left corner where the 9 dots are, Show Applications. Go to Disks. And now we're going to delete each partition on the hard drive. So you're going to hit the minus button and delete. That was the first partition. We're going to go to the second one. Same deal, minus button, delete. Third partition, delete. And the last partition, minus button, and delete. Now we're going to add a partition that takes up the entire space of the hard drive, so 128 gigabytes. Hit create, and it's creating the file system. Once that's done, you can X out and click the Install Ubuntu. And we're going to select English and hit continue. Keyboard layout, English, continue. And we're going to do minimal installation and hit continue. Erase disk and install Ubuntu, install. Continue. And then we're going to select our location and hit continue. And then we're going to put our name in and a password and click continue. After that installs, go ahead and restart now. And then it's asking me to please remove the installation medium. So just take out your flash drive and hit enter. Continue boot. Once that reloads, log back in. And to finish the install, live patch, just hit next. No, don't send system info. Next. Location services, no. Hit next. And we're ready to go. Okay, now that we have Ubuntu installed, we're going to go ahead and check for updates, but first we need to connect to the internet. Unfortunately, my HP laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port, but luckily I have this Ethernet to USB adapter, so I'm just going to plug my Ethernet cable into this and plug the USB in. And in the top right corner, we're going to be able to see that we are now connected to a wired connection. Awesome. Now you can also connect to your Wi-Fi. At the top right corner, hit the down arrow and Wi-Fi not connected. So I'm going to click on that, select network, and I'm going to find my network, connect, type in my password and connect. Okay, now that you've entered your password, we can double check to make sure the Wi-Fi is connected. And it is. So now you can either use a wire connection or your Wi-Fi connection. Okay, now that we have an internet connection, let's go ahead and check for updates. To do so, go ahead and click the 9 dots in the bottom left corner, show applications. And right here, you're going to double click software updater. It's going to go ahead and tell us if we have any updates to install. And go ahead and click install now. It's going to prompt you for your password. Go and punch that in. Okay, now that the software updater has installed all the updates, let's go ahead and restart now. Now that you've successfully installed Ubuntu on your laptop, you can go to your hardware wallet vendor's website and follow their instructions for setup without worrying about malware on your laptop. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll see you on the next one.